tonight with a major update on a story we first told you about at 6. The attorney for an East Texas Sheriff's Office joined East Texas Now within the last hour, responding to newly released dash camera video of a deputy-involved shooting in Rusk County. You will hear some of that interview at the conclusion of this story. Earlier, a federal judge lifted the order preventing the release of the video that shows the shooting that ended with the death of Timothy Randall in 2022. We warn you. We're warning you, most viewers will probably find this video disturbing, and for that reason, we have chosen to edit the dash cam footage to freeze it at the moment the deputy actually fires his gun. Again, in a few moments, we will bring you the response tonight from the attorney representing the Rusk County Sheriff's Office. But first, we start with KLTV's Lauren Tier, who takes you through the incident.
A protective order barring this video from being released to the public eye is no more. A hearing last Thursday ended with the federal judge saying he would consider lifting the seal, and today he made his decision. An attorney representing the family of Timothy Randall released the video to the media. It started as a traffic stop. Sergeant Shane Iverson pulling Timothy Randall over for allegedly running a stop sign on September 14th, 2022.
Good evening.
How you doing, sir?
Good. I'm Sergeant Iverson of the Rusk County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, sir.
The reason I pulled you over is you blew that stop sign back there.
No, I didn't. I came to a complete stop at that stop sign.
All right.
I mean, I did. I came to a stop.
No, you didn't. So.
What do you mean? I mean, what do you mean?
Step out of the vehicle for me.
Randall exits the car when he is patted down and asked to put his hands behind his back.
Officer, please, can you tell me what I'm under arrest for? Please. Please. Officer, please.
Get out.
Just 45 seconds after the gun was fired, Sergeant Iverson approaches Randall's body lying on the ground.
Dude, you okay?
No response from Randall can be heard on the video. Iverson then calls dispatch.
Hey, I need an ambulance. Call everybody. I've got a shooting.
After a DPS investigation, Sergeant Iverson was no-billed by a Rusk County grand jury, meaning he will not face criminal charges in the death. A death report states Sergeant Iverson was in a tactically compromising position on the ground when he fired his gun. Attorney Joseph Oxman is representing Randall's family in a civil lawsuit filed in 2023. It claims wrongful death and a civil rights violation. He said after the hearing that law enforcement has tried to portray the shooting as an act of self-defense, but he argues that the video shows otherwise.
I think once the public sees this video, they will clearly show and understand that Sergeant Iverson was an out-of-control police officer who murdered an individual on the side of the road without any probable cause whatsoever.
Lauren Tier, KLTV 7 News.
Late this evening, the attorney for Rusk County Sheriff's Office, Robert Davis, joined East Texas Now to refute the claims of attorney Oxman. Davis says Sergeant Iverson believed he felt a weapon in the pants of Randall, and that influenced his actions and reactions during the incident.
With his right hand, he placed something down his pants. The officer, and you can see it on the video, reaches over. He's got the guy up against the car, reaches over and feels the item that is in the pants of the individual. Then he, to get a better feel of the item, placed his right hand down the front of the pants to feel the item again. It appeared and felt to be a North American .22 caliber pistol or something similar, which drug dealers and drug users are known to carry oftentimes. They're easy to conceal and they're small. At that point, the deputy tried to control the hands of the subject. The subject pulled away from him repeatedly, refused to let the officer control his hands, gave repeated commands to the individual, then took the individual to the ground.
Davis also confirmed in the interview that a crack pipe was found in Randall's pants, an object he says is similar in dimensions to the aforementioned .22 caliber pistol. The Rusk County District Attorney's Office has still not returned our requests for a comment. The attorney for Randall's family says he hopes the release of the video prompts federal authorities to look into the case and consider federal charges. Again, no comment at this time from the sheriff or the DA's office of Rusk County. That entire dashcam video, unedited, as well as the full interview with attorney Robert Davis, are both available to view on our website, kltv.com. You'll find it in the big red box. You can also get there by scanning the QR code on your screen. Again, we want to let you know the video you're going to access online has not been edited to freeze at the point of firing the weapon.